An epoxy river table is mostly dining tables, conference tables. They can be really whatever you want, but a river table is made from two pieces of wood usually with a natural edge on the inside. Sometimes we leave the natural edge on the outside, but usually the natural edge is on the inside, and we pour in a liquid resin that then hardens and becomes solid surface with the table. The idea is to make a larger surface with two smaller pieces of wood. It's been a pretty popular design trend for at least the last 5 years. It just brings a different element of design into the house. Yeah, so sometimes defects can be worked around with resin. Because it goes in as a liquid, it can fill in any imperfections that may be on the live edge. Also, there are certain slabs that just don't make good solid surface tables because of how wavy the outside grain is, or how bizarre and how unstraight grained the wood is. They just don't glue together great. Those make great contenders for river tables because you can match those based on the outer edge of the live edge of the actual way the tree was growing, and then fill that in with resin. Yeah, epoxy river tables are difficult in that they require so much more time, so much more care to make them right. When it goes in as a liquid, it creates a lot of heat. So we have to have a special air-conditioned clean room in our shop that we build the molds for these tables in and put them in there. And we have to keep the temperature way down because of the heat created from the resin itself. If it's done improperly, that resin will cool too quickly and it'll crack or break away from the live edge, which is not what you're looking for. We figured this out over a long trial and error period before we could actually perfect the way we do it. I know there are a lot of DIYers out there that do it themselves, and some of their projects turn out great. And sometimes they bring their projects to us and have us evaluate for them what they did wrong and why a defect happened when they weren't see that coming. There is a very large margin for error when working with epoxy. It all really comes down to how good you build your mold. It has to be watertight when the boards go in there. The one thing about epoxy is it's also very expensive. So you can't afford to not have an airtight mold and pour that and walk away from it overnight only to come back in the next morning and realize it's all over the floor. And now you're not getting it off. So the more hands that you have touching these things, the worse off it is. We try to limit our epoxy build team to a certain group of people who have done hundreds of these projects. The way you mix the resin is important. The way you pour it is important. Having a perfectly clean surface is important. So many things can go wrong in the way an epoxy river table is made. So we take great care in making sure that that's not going to happen.